Hey folks, Colin here from Something's Recording, and today I'm going to show you one trick to get bigger and more natural sounding live drums. We're going to be talking about live drums today, but before we dive in, if you're ready to go a little bit deeper into the mixing process as a whole and really start to hone your workflow as an engineer, then I have just the thing for you. It is my 7-step mixing checklist. It's a simple PDF that will guide you through the entire mixing process, step by step, to help you get professional and radio-ready mixes without the hassle and without any more guesswork. It is completely free, and you can download it below using the link in the video description. Now let's jump in here and take a look at these drums. So let me tell you what these drums are sounding like right now. We have a kick, a snare, 3 toms, and overheads. We don't have any room mics on here, and I've turned off the room emulation that I usually use. I'm going to show you a cool trick to get a big live room sound right at your home studio, right in your room with your speakers, okay? So this is going to get you a bigger sound and a more natural sound to your live drums without using, an Evolution reverb or something like that to send all your kit elements to, and then it doesn't sound as natural as an actual room would. So here's our drums as they currently sound in the mix. So I have everything muted except for the drums here. So they sound pretty good. They got a nice amount of low end. They got a nice amount of punch to them, but they don't have the liveliness that I want yet. Now I could add a reverb. I usually do add a reverb to the snare, but I don't want it just on the snare. I want it on the kit as a whole. I want it like a live room sound, like these drums are just really going at it in a nice big room here. So what we've done here at the studio, if you can see behind me, there's a pair of mics in the center of the room. I have my big speakers on behind me. The mics are about halfway back in the room, centered in the room, so they're centered between the speakers, and the mics are at an XY position like this. So we have one mic pointing at this speaker, and then we have another mic pointing at this speaker, and each microphone, the capsules are touching, so everything's going to be in phase, so both microphones are hearing the signal from each speaker at the same time. That is key to make sure everything is in phase. Either you measure them or measure to the center of the room and make sure your capsules are touching. So they're as close as possible so no sound is hitting either microphone at a different time, causing any phase issues here. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to create 2 other tracks, one for each microphone. In Studio One, you can click T to create tracks. I'm going to create 2 mono tracks. They are going to be blue, but I'm going to make them a lighter blue here because they're going to be our reverb. They're going to be our fake room reverb here. So we're going to call one room. We'll call them both room. We'll name them room left and room right here in a second. So we've got 2 more here. I'm going to name this one room L for room left, and then this one room R for room right. So the left one is going to be the right microphone. So our right microphone is pointing at our left speaker, right? This microphone on our right, pointing at our left speaker. That's going to be our left signal. So that one is our bass mic here. And then our opposite microphone is our guitar microphone. So we're going to turn them both on here. And we're going to see the kind of signal we're getting here. So I'm going to mute my microphone. I'm going to raise up the volume of my big speakers here in the room, and I'm going to open up my inputs here to see kind of where we're sitting with both of these. So we've got our bass mic and our guitar mic here. They're both 57s, or they will be both 57s here in a minute. So we need bass mic and guitar 2 mic. I'm going to turn them on, and we're going to get a level check here. So I've got them sitting pretty even here. So here's our bass mic. That's our left one. Here's our guitar mic. That's our right one. You can hear the noise coming through the speakers now because I have the big ones turned up. Here's them here. We'll pan them. So left and right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to record the live room here. So we're going to record the drums coming through the big speakers, being captured into these two microphones here. Then we're going to bring that up underneath our drum kit. So we're just going to do this small section here just to see how everything's sounding, and we'll dial it in with our kit. So I'm going to mute my mic here, record enable. I'm going to go back a little bit, and we're going to record this section here. So mic muted. So that's perfect. That's enough for now. So now we have our two room signals. I'm going to dial back our big speakers here so we don't hear our noise in our room anymore. Let's take a listen. We'll put these up their center for the moment so we can listen to each one by itself, and then we'll listen to both of them together. So here's our left one. We'll have to put our mic emulation on our right one. So our left one is a SM57, Shure SM57. Our right one is the Slate Digital VM mic, so we'll put the mic emulation on it and change it to a 57 here. So here is the actual 57. A little smacky on the high end. That's okay. We can always tune that down. Here is our Slate mic, and we'll put our virtual mix rack on here. And we're just going to use, I think it's the Classic Instruments mic set, to just put a SM57 emulation on. I think it loads up. Yep, my percussion preset is the FET mic. We're going to use a modern 57 because obviously I don't have a vintage 57. All the 57s I have bought are from my time period here. So here is our vintage, or not our vintage, our modern 57 emulation with our Slate Digital mic. That's sounding pretty good. Now what we can do is we can send these to one track here. So I'm going to send them to a new bus. If you don't have a shortcut made for that, if you right-click on two tracks, you can send them or create a bus for selected channels. We're going to call this Rooms. We'll make it the same color. So now we have one fader control for that room sound. Let's get it sitting a little bit better by itself before we mix it in with the rest of the drums. Top end's a little bit smacky. Let's even it out a little bit. So all we did here, one EQ, rolling off the really, really lows. We don't need all of that coming through in our room sound. So rolled it up to about 141 here. So just making sure our kick drum's sitting a little bit more evenly with the low end on our snare drum. Then I rolled in a low pass filter here just to tighten up the high end a little bit so it's not so slappy or so smacky sounding when the snare hits. It was getting a little bit crazy in the top end, a little bit too frizzly sounding for me. So it's a gentler slope here, 6 dBs per octave, and then we rolled it into about 2K here, so reducing some of that high end. It's going to make sure the cymbals aren't too crazy in our room mics here either. Then a little bit of vintage vibe from this FC670, so our Fairchild emulation plugin from PreSonus here. Pushed a lot of the input gain to get some of that vintage vibe from it. Fastest time, and then just pulled the threshold up till it's doing about anywhere from 1 to 3 dB of compression here. So just aiming for our first piece right there, our first line. Now let's pull this down, and let's put it in with the rest of our drums here. So we're just going to pull it up underneath our drums here and see if we can get something sounding good. That's sounding good there, even lowered about 8 dB down there. It's adding a nice live element, a little bit of room sound to our drum kit here. One other thing we can do is, if we pull in our binaural pan, let's widen it. Let's make our room sound wider here. I like it right there at 110. We'll push it to 200, see what it sounds like really wide within the rest of the kit. So here's at 110 underneath the rest of the kit. So there at 200. You've probably heard me say before, I'm not a huge fan of wide pan low end like that. We're going to keep it at 110. A little bit of width really helped to liven up the room a little bit. Let's throw in our bass track here. I can't put anything else in for this song. Maybe you'll see why. It's the name of the song up here. Cover song. It'd get taken down if I put any kind of noticeable melody or guitar parts in for this song. But I'll stick the bass in here, and we'll see if we can get the room sound sitting a little bit better here. So an interesting and unique way, unique for you and your studio, to liven up and make your live drums sound bigger and a little bit more natural way by using the room you have at your studio. I hope that was helpful for you. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you're ready to take your mixes to the next level and really start dialing in your workflow as an engineer, then I have just the tool for you, and it is completely free. It is my 7-step mixing checklist, and you can download it below to start creating more professional mixes in less time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.